Diane Lucas.
And this is Mick, the Doctor of Digital.
And welcome to Music 101. Music 101 is created to empower music itself and legendary icon in the music industry. Another week, another great episode. Sly and the Family Stone, how their funk soul sound shaped 1967 to 1971 in America.
Yes, indeed. This is the birth of funk, and we're kind of on a roll here in one way in that we're losing people, and unfortunately, we lost Sly Stone. But I don't want to go into all the bad stuff. We can just talk about the music and all the great stuff, especially during those years, because they were really important for Sly and the Family Stone.
Indeed, and let's give them a big, big, big hand. Thank you, Sly and the Family Stone, for giving us your legacy. Who dared to challenge James Brown and paint the 1960s with the psychedelic soul? Mr. Meg?
Well, who was the original Prince? Who, during his heyday, challenged the Funk Meister himself, Soul Brother number one? That's James Brown. No one but Sly even came close. He burst on our screens and assaulted our ears with psychedelic frenzy and that whole San Francisco vibe. He was an original who broke the mold in an outrageous but a bit of elusive manner as well. He artfully blended rock, soul, and funk along with inspirational anthems, and yet something was amiss. He burned inside with betrayal and rage. In conclusion, in a year that we've already had significant musical losses, Brian Wilson, Mick Rouse, and Rick Derringer, we unfortunately have to add the mysterious maestro himself, Sly Stone, and his electric Kool-Aid type kids, the Family Stone.
Indeed, this early song feel overlooked. What's the story behind Poet, Mr. Meg?
You're right, it's almost a hidden manifesto. Poet opens a whole new thing, and while it never touched the charts, it quietly declares Sly's intentions smash genre boundaries, assemble an American multiracial, multi-gender band, and make music that's both message and groove. This may be his most overlooked track since it predates Sly's hits, but it was a hint of the good things to come. In 1967, when Sly and the Family Stone dropped their debut album, A Whole New Thing, they hit with Poet. This one didn't even crack the singles chart. I first thought it sounded like Curtis Mayfield and, of course, Larry Graham, with a nod to Stevie Wonder. And I recognized we did have a whole new thing, but funkier. In 1967, the Summer of Love exploded in San Francisco, but most of the city's sonic landscape was psychedelic rock. Jefferson Airplane, Grateful Dead, Janis Joplin. Sly was from the Bay, but he didn't sound like it. He blended the intellectual edge of Curtis Mayfield, the raw funk of James Brown, and even a hint and touch of Stevie Wonder's melodic charm. But there was something even more radical. Poet hints at funk before funk was fully born. Listen to the bass. Larry Graham isn't slapping yet, but you feel that tension, that pressure building toward the percussive bass revolution he would unleash. What grabs me today is how prophetic the lyrics are. My only weapon is my pen. He's telling you up front that he's not just a band leader, he's a philosopher of the street, a poet of the revolution. Listening to Poet now, it's like uncovering a hidden gem that whispers, this is where the revolution started. It's not just a track, it's a promise of what is to come. And as a fan, I can't get enough of that beautiful energy. This track feels like Sly whispering through the decades. Pay attention. This is where it starts. In conclusion, Poet is a seed, a spark waiting to set the entire forest on fire.
Mr. Meg, what was the song that blew the doors open?
Well, if Poet was the whisper, Dance to the Music was the shout heard round the world. Dance to the Music is from 1968 when Sly and the Family Stone started to perform for bigger audiences and light things up. This gem hit the Billboard Hot 100 at number 8, and you can see why it became such a sensation. It's pure joy packed into a hot little package. Released as the title track of their album, it dropped on January 1st, 1968, and it's like Sly threw open a door while a whole new sound right at the start of the year. The band's label, Epic Records, practically begged Sly to write something more commercially accessible after A Whole New Thing didn't chart. Sly resisted. He didn't want to compromise, but then he flipped the demand into a satire of commercial music that became a massive hit anyway. The background story behind this one is gold. Sly crafted it with a brilliant twist. Each band member gets their moment to shine. Recorded in a single take at Pacific High Recorders in San Francisco, that raw energy just leaps out of the speakers. The brilliance of Dance of the Music is its self awareness. The lyrics tell you what the band is doing. Cynthia on the trumpet. Freddie's going to add some guitar. It's music as an anatomy lesson, but it's so funky you don't realize you're being taught. That infectious boom chakalaka laka chant and the whole way it blends soul, funk, and rock, it broke barriers and showed the world what a diverse American band could do. It cracked the Billboard Top 10, but more than that, it introduced millions of diverse audience to funk and did it with a racially integrated American band front and center. Think about that. In 1968, when Martin Luther King was assassinated, when cities were burning, Sly Stone was standing on American TV stages with a black man, a white woman, a white man, an interracial horn section, and saying, "This is what America sounds like." Musically, it's the beginning of something seismic. The horn stabs, the pounding floor torn beat, the group vocals. This blueprint becomes the DNA of funk. It also was the launch pad for future bands like Earth, Wind and Fire, Parliament, and Kool and the Gang, who owe their entire sound to this formula. Milady at 68. How is it possible that song Milady didn't chart, but it didn't? That won't stop us, though. We groove into Milady from 1968, a hidden treasure from Sly and the Family Stone that doesn't get the love it deserves, but it has all the right elements of classic Family Stone, funky, danceable, and vocally innovative. It's quite a quiet tribute to the fair sex and an interlude in the middle of their funky explosion. And we never give thanks enough for the ladies. As a fan, I cherish it for its quiet beauty and the way it shows Sly and the Family Stone could move hearts as well as feet. Life, 68. A brass band, a march, a circus. Who are these guys experimenting like the Beatles? But that's how the song begins. Tucked into their Life album, released that same year, this one didn't chart as a single, which feels like a missed opportunity given its experimental nature and self reflection, like Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. But it's a secret gem on the LP. You don't have to die before you live, Sly sings. Amen, brother. Sing a simple song. All right, let's dive into the funky, soulful world of Sly and the Family Stones. Sing a Simple Song from 68, a track that's pure groove wrapped in a deceptively straightforward package. This song didn't just land on the charts, it swaggered in, carrying the band's signature blend of soul, funk, and hints at a psychedelic vibe that made them pioneers of the era. Chart wise, the song was the B side to a monster number one hit that I'll get into. While the A side got the spotlight, peaking at the top for 4 weeks, Sing a Simple Song wasn't simple. It carved its path, hitting number 28 on the Billboard R&B singles chart and bubbling under the Hot 100 at number 89. Not bad for a B-side, especially when you consider he was competing with its A-side sibling for airplay. Think Stevie Wonder on funk. I can't help but grin thinking about how those syncopated yah 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 vocals pull you in, demanding you sing along, even if you're just humming in your ear. The song, with its call to try a little do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, feels like a musical challenge to anyone who says Americans are not ready for the revolution playing on the radio. The song is simple, sorta, but sly, pun intended, with a danceable beat. Fun facts: the Meters played the tune with a New Orleans twist, Maceo Parker with the James Brown feel, and the mostly vocal harmony Commodores tried an instrumental version. You can hear its DNA in later funk classics like Parliament's Give Up the Funk, so it's no shock that it's been sampled everywhere, proving its groove still resonates decades later. In conclusion, Dance to the Music isn't just a party song, it's a declaration of war against musical segregation, and Sly's other songs of the time celebrated it.
Celebrated indeed, and very well said, Mr. Mick. Very well said. Let's talk about their biggest song. Is Everyday People their most important song?
You could argue that. Everyday People is the one that crystallizes Sly's entire philosophy, musical and personal, in under 3 minutes. All right, let's sink into the vibrant, unifying groove of Sly and the Family Stone's Everyday People from 1968, a song that's much a cultural touchstone as it is a funky masterpiece. It's Mott the Hoople's anthem, All the Young Dudes, except for Americans. This is a song for everyone. Different strokes for different folks, now a part of our lexicon, since we all have to live together. It's a bit of the countercultural vibe of Woodstock in telling us that skin color doesn't matter. We don't care for superficial differences. We're all Americans and we all respond to the funk. This is America's All You Need is Love, but funkier, grittier, and more urgent. At the time, different strokes for different folks wasn't just a catchphrase, it was a revolutionary demand in 1968, a year racked with assassinations, King and the RFK, Vietnam, and racial riots. Released as the lead single from their 1960 album Stand, it rocketed to number one on the Billboard Hot 100 in February 1969, holding the top spot for 4 weeks. It also hit number one on the Billboard R&B singles chart, a testament to its universal appeal across audiences, uniting Americans of all races. Sly wasn't just looking for harmony, he was demanding it. And the magic? He made it a pop hit. 4 weeks at number one on the Billboard Hot 100 in early 69, an era when such overwhelming crossover appeal was almost unthinkable. What's captivating about the song is that unforgettable refrain, everyday people, inviting everyone to see themselves and one another as Americans. In 68, seeing a band like that wasn't just rare, it was revolutionary. The production is deceptively simple. No flashy horns, no pounding bass, just a sing along groove and those layered vocals that feel like a conversation happening in real time. It's also, to me, one of the earliest examples of protest music that isn't angry. It's hopeful. It's saying, why is this so hard, people? It's weary, but determined. Here's a tidbit. The song's B side was Sing a Simple Song, which we talked about before, and it's like the rowdier sibling carrying its peaceful weight. Together, they made this single a double barreled funk masterpiece. The line, there is a yellow one that won't accept the black one, cut through the noise like a scalpel. Sly made millions of suburban teenagers sing those words, knowing how radical it was. The song's impact stretched wide. Tom Jones had a duet with Sly, Aretha Franklin covered it, and it's been recorded by rocker Joan Jett. It even inspired a 1990s TV show named after that different strokes line. In a year like 68, with its assassinations and protests like those we mentioned in our 1968 episode, this song feels like a ray of hope, urging listeners to find common ground. In conclusion, when I hear Sly songs during this time, I'm struck by how it still feels fresh, like it could drop today and still pack dance floors while sparking conversations. Everyday People proves the revolution doesn't always need to shout, sometimes it just sings.
Mr. Merck, no pun intended, but how did things stand in 1969?
Well, talk about Stand by Sly. I get it. So let's get into the gospel pulse of Sly and the Family Stones' Stand from 1969, a track that's both a rallying cry and a gospel funk soul masterpiece. 69 was huge for Sly and the band. Pick up the cross you have to bear, Sly sings, but he provides a soulful gospel beat in this unifying anthem. This song doesn't just play. It grabs you by the collar and demands you rise, all while keeping your feet moving to its infectious groove. Chart wise, Stand was the title track of the band's 1969 album and dropped as a single in April of that year. It climbed to number 22 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 14 on the Billboard R&B singles chart. What makes Stand so gripping is its unapologetic call to action. Sly Stone wrote it during a turbulent time. 69 was raw with the aftermath of 68's assassinations, the Vietnam War's escalation, and the ongoing achievement of civil rights. The lyrics urging you to stand, you've been sitting much too long, hit like a wake up call, pushing listeners to take charge of whatever you believe. Sly's not preaching, he's testifying to life. Let's climb into the electrified psychedelic whirlwind of Sly and the Family Stones. I Want to Take You Higher from 1969, a track that's less a song and more like a sonic rocket. blasting you into a state of pure, unaffiliated atmosphere. This is Sly and his crew at their most unrestrained, channeling funk, rock, and a touch of cosmic energy into a call to transcend. Chart wise, I Want to Take You Higher was another gem from the Stand album, released as a single in 1969. It hit number 60 on the Billboard Hot 100 and reached number 24 on the Billboard R&B Singles Chart. Not a chart topper like the other songs, but its raw power made it a cultural force. The crowd chanting higher at the band, 400,000 strong at Woodstock, was a defining moment, cementing the song's place in rock and soul history. There have been numerous covers, with a few standing out more than the others. Ike and Tina Turner with the Ikettes snagged the song in 1970, turning the track into a gritty, high-octane soul review. Their version, released as a single, outcharted Sly's original, hitting number 34 on the Billboard Hot 100 and 28 on the R&B chart. The Jackson 5, young and bursting with energy, covered it for their 1971 TV soundtrack, Going Back to Indiana. Their version is brighter, with a pop polish suited to their Motown sound. Kool and the Gang brought their live prowess to a 1971 cover on the album Live at the Sex Machine. Their take is loose and horn-heavy, emphasizing the party vibe with a funked-up jam session feel. It peaked at number 105 on the charts. Duran Duran, known for their new wave flair, recorded two versions for their 1995 covers album, Thank You. Jeff Beck's 2016 version, featured on Sly Stone's comeback album, I'm Back, Family and Friends, is a standout. Other covers include George Clinton and the P-Funk All-Stars, who bring their cosmic slop to it. This diversity of covers, from Motown to New Wave, proves Sly's genius in crafting a song that's both timeless and endlessly adaptable. The song crossed the pond and was recorded by Brian Auger. Brian Auger and the Trinity, the British jazz rock outfit, took it on for their 1970 and their album Before. Auger's Hammond B3 organ, a nod to Sly's keyboard work, drives their version, retitled slightly to I Wanna Take You Higher. It's jazzy yet gritty, with Julie Driscoll's vocals adding a smoky edge. The Trinity's take leans into improvisation, stretching the song's psychedelic roots while keeping its groove intact. His early work with the Steam Pack in 1965, a review-style band with Long John Baldry, a young Rod Stewart, and mod singer Julie Driscoll, was a crucible for his genre-blending style. The song also got a second life when it was re-released in 1970 as the B-side to the reissued Stand, climbing to number 38 on the Hot 100. Now we can let's soak up the sun-soaked, carefree vibe of Sly and the Family Stone's Hot Fun in the Summertime from 1969, a track that feels like a cool breeze on a sweltering day, bursting with the band's infectious, full funk soul magic. The song is pure joy, capturing the fleeting freedom of summer while showcasing Sly's knack for crafting grooves that hit you right in the heart. Chart-wise, this one was a standalone single, not tied to the Stand album released in August 1969, timed right with the band's appearance at Woodstock. It soared to number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 3 on the R&B Singles Chart, just shy of the top spot, but cementing Sly and the Family Stone as a force. Were there covers? You bet. The Beach Boys, Hall & Oates, the Manhattan Transfer, among others, all tried their hand at the tune. Somebody's Watching You, 1969. Indicative of Sly's Demons, Somebody's Watching You is from 69, a lesser-known but potent track from their iconic Stand album. Unlike Sly's big hits, the song wasn't released as a single, so it didn't grace the Billboard charts. Somebody's Watching You, Don't You Know? Came in an era when government overreach and war abounded. It made people feel eyes on their backs. One of the coolest things about Somebody's Watching You is its afterlife. Little Sisters, a vocal group led by Sly's sister, Vet Stone, covered it in 1970 as a single, hitting number 32 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 8 on the R&B chart. Fast forward to the hip-hop era, and the song's groove got sampled by Arrested Development for their 1992 hit, People Every Day, which flipped the bass line and into a conscious rap anthem. The theme of Sly's song has been revisited numerous times over the years. I Always Feel Like Somebody's Watching Me by Rockwell, Paranoid by Black Sabbath, which explores feelings of being pursued and watched, Big Brother by David Bowie, which directly references Orwellian surveillance themes, Somebody That I Used to Know by Gotye was being watched by someone from your past. There's a language warning for the next song. Don't call me the N-word, Whitey. This was from 1969, and the Black Power movement went into hyperdrive after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King, and Sly was right on it. This track was a gut punch, a raw statement that tackles the chaos and assassinations of the previous year head on, wrapped in the band's signature funk soul groove. It's not subtle, and neither was the era it came from, a time when America was grappling with battles, the long, hot summers I experienced as a kid growing up in New Jersey, mostly an instrumental with slogans thrown in. It's still a hot groove of a track. Chart-wise, the song wasn't a single, so it didn't hit the Billboard charts. This song, tucked into the album's track list, wasn't meant for radio. It was too provocative. You can make me try. You can make it if you try. Let's slide into the uplifting, gritty groove of Sly and the Family Stones. You Can Make It If You Try from their '69 album Stand. This track is a burst of encouragement, a funky pep talk that pushes you to keep going no matter what the odds, delivered with the band's trademark soul and swagger. Chart-wise, You Can Make It If You Try wasn't a standalone single, so it didn't hit the Billboard Hot 100 or R&B charts. Sly Stone lyrics are straightforward. You can make it if you try, push a little harder, think a little deeper, but they carry a weight that resonates, especially in the context of 1969's struggles. In conclusion, 1969 was a banner year for Sly and his influence on other artists.
Mr. Mick, you've called this the birth of funk bass. Why?
Well, because it is, no question. Larry Graham invented slap bass on Thank You for Let Me Be Myself Again. Let's groove into the infectious bass-driven world of Sly and the Family Stones. Thank You for Let Me Be Myself Again. Released in December 1969 as a single and later included on their 1970 Greatest Hits album. A fun fact is that there is an official alternate mix of the song. Before this, nobody was popping and slapping the strings like in this song. Let's groove in the infectious bass-driven world of Sly and the Family Stones single. And this bass line isn't just famous, it's foundational. You can't have Bootsy Collins or Flea without this moment. Chart-wise, this song was a monster. It hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in February 1970, holding the top spot for 2 weeks, and also claimed #1 on the R&B singles chart. What gets me about the track is its raw, unfiltered attitude. Sly Stone's lyrics, spelled phonetically in the title to mimic his Sly drawl, are a cheeky nod to authenticity. Thank you for letting me be myself again. It's about owning who you are, flaws and all, in a world that's quick to judge. Lines like, looking at the devil, grinning at his gun, nod to the era's social tensions, Vietnam, racial strife, and political unease while keeping the vibe celebratory. It's authenticity with a vibe. But it's not just the bass. The whole vibe is different. Gone is the polished joy of dance to the music. This is grimy, sweaty, and honest. You can hear the stress in Sly's voice, the paranoia starting to creep in. It's the optimism of everyday people slowly collapsing under the weight of reality. Yet it's still a jam, a monster jam. It hit #1, proving that you could still take the darkness, package it in the funkiest groove imaginable, and America would still dance. Released at the decade's turn, it's a bridge between the '60s hope and the '70s grit. It's the last pure moment before Sly fully descends into the chaos of there's a riot going on. In conclusion, this song isn't just a thank you, it's a warning wrapped in a funky bass groove.
Definitely, and very well said, Mr. Mick. But times they were changing the code Bob Dylan. What happened?
All right, well, let's dive into the raw, introspective groove of Sly and the Family Stones' Time, a track from their 1971 album, There's a Riot Going On. This song is a haunting, understated gem, steeped in the darker, murkier vibe that defined Riot, a sharp pivot from his earlier upbeat funk. Time wasn't released as a single, so it didn't touch the Billboard charts. This release reflected Sly Stone's personal and artistic shift, grappling with fans' addiction and a fracturing band, making the song a snapshot of that heavy crisis. The lyrics, Time, it goes so fast. When you're somebody, it moves so slow, are delivered in a weary, almost whispered tone, like he's talking to himself late at night. In conclusion, it's a meditation on mortality and pressure, resonating with the early 70s come down from the 60s idealism.
So, Mr. Mick, this sounds like a different man. Why?
He is a different man. By 1971, the utopian dreams were ashes. The band was fracturing, addiction was gnawing at everyone, and America, Watergate was brewing, Vietnam was dragging on, and Kent State had happened. Let's sink into the smoky, soulful depths of Sly and the Family Stones' Family Affair, a standout from the 1971 album There's a Riot Going On. This track is a masterpiece of mood, blending funk's pulse with a raw, introspective edge that captures Sly at his most vulnerable and innovative. Released as a single in November 1971, it's one of the band's defining moments, a song that feels like a late night confession set to a hypnotic groove. Family Affair is a masterpiece of exhaustion. It's almost not even funk, it's a sigh, a whispered confessional. That drum machine, the Maestro Rhythm King, is cold, mechanical, like a heartbeat in a padded room. Chart-wise, Family Affair was a triumph. It hit number one on the Billboard Hot 100 for 3 weeks and topped the R&B singles chart, a testament to its universal pull. The single marked a shift to a darker, more introspective sound, reflecting the early 70s come down. The lyrics say, "It's a family affair. One child grows up to be somebody that just loves to learn." And the song explores family ties, loyalty, and the tension between love and conflict. Written during a period of Sly's deepening addiction and band discord, the song feels personal, like he's wrestling with his own inner circles unraveling. Yet it's universal, speaking to anyone who's navigated the messy beauty of family or community. His voice, weary but soulful, carries a raw honesty that hits deep. Is he exercising his family demons or reaching out to help others? It may be both, but it's a sensitive, introspective song at a time that should be his greatest triumph and commercial success. Yet the song hit number one. Why? Because Sly tapped into something raw and universal. Family is hard, whether it's your blood family or your chosen family, bands, movements, communities. It's messy, complicated, and painful. Musically, it's a game changer. Sly, playing most instruments himself, used a Maestro rhythm machine, one of the first times a drum machine anchored a major hit. His electric piano and synths create a woozy lo-fi texture, while Billy Preston's guest organ adds a gospel tinge. Larry Graham's bass, one of the last contributions before leaving, grounds the track, though it's subtler than his slap-heavy earlier contributions. Recorded mostly in Sly's Bel Air home studio, the track's murky production, complete with tape hiss, feels like a deliberate rejection of his earlier polish, mirroring his personal and the era's disillusionment. But there's still love, always love. In conclusion, Family Affair is the sound of the dream dying, but also the sound of someone trying desperately to hold on.
Definitely Sly and the Family Stone. Thank you so much for sharing your legacy to the world. So, Mr. Mick, what is the closing reflection?
Well, Sly and the Family Stone didn't just play music. They reimagined what America could sound like at its best and reflected what it sounded like. Their music holds the mirror up to the 60s and the 70s, bright, colorful, wild, and hopeful. If James Brown was the godfather of soul, Sly was the preacher of funk, delivering sermons wrapped in bass lines, harmonies, and hard truths. His genius was that he made revolution danceable. His tragedy was that the revolution swallowed him. And still, in conclusion, the music plays.
Definitely. Sly and the Family Stone is a groundbreaking band led by the Sly Stone, revolutionized American music from 1967 to 1971 with their infectious blend of funk, soul, rock, and psychedelia. Well, Mr. Mick, another great episode. Would you like to plug in something?
Sure, you bet. You can always catch me on just almost anywhere. LinkedIn, I was thinking about. You can get a book created in 90 days. Also, the author to Idea Coach on Facebook. And of course, my own podcast, the Dr. Digital Podcast, and also a couple volumes on Amazon, Burning America and On Track, Ian Hunter.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Mick, the Dr. Digital, the podcast itself. And please do listen to our baby podcast, Mental Health 101. Mental Health 101 is created to empower our mental health awareness. So, Mr. Mick, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, my friend. Until next time, Deus Vol.
More to come, people. See you soon.